Hello, guys. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Today our story is from our subscriber Countessa. The story is called IF19 was ignored by boyfriend's M19, friends at his birthday party. Story. IF19 went to my boyfriend's M19 birthday party at his house last month. We had been dating at that point for over 6 months. The only people at this gathering were his parents, a friend the high school we went to, and 2 of his closest friends that are in his friend group. I had already met his parents and that friend from his high school and had good relationships with them. However, this was the first time I met meeting these 2 close friends, who I will call Paul and Tom. Tom, M18, and my boyfriend have been close friends since meeting in kindergarten, and their parents are friends too. I have heard so much about him, and he has heard about me too. I had expressed wanting to meet him, but Tom feared meeting me would lead to him being a third wheel during the hangout, a concern I found valid. We tried arranging hangouts between us with the company of a friend of his, but conflicting schedules led to it never working out. Paul, M19, has been friends with Tom and my boyfriend since grade school. He is heavily involved in this friend group my boyfriend is part of, and as far as I know, has no friends outside of it. At the party, I felt really nervous. I had never met either of them before and wanted to make a good impression. Since my boyfriend and I have been dating for over 6 months at that point, they have heard a decent amount about me and the experiences my boyfriend and I have had together. When I first met them, they seemed nice and said hello to me. Yet I began to notice they weren't talking to me or asking me anything. In fact, I would notice them hardly looking at me or quickly darting their eyes away when they did. We were all sitting at the same table at one point when eating food. I had conversations with my boyfriend's mother and his mutual friend from high school, which went well while these were occurring. Paul and Tom were either talking to someone else or just eating their food. I tried to say things that could generate a conversation between all of us. Even though I don't know much about games or anime, I brought it up to start something. It did start a conversation about anime, but one I wasn't really a part of. My boyfriend would try to keep me included in the conversation by bringing up what I knew about these topics, but that would be glossed over. I would also bring up what I knew about their friend group and cracked a joke about it. They did laugh and one responded, but they never really addressed me. They just said it in passing and moved on. This led to me becoming really uncomfortable, even when my boyfriend's parents left the room and we were about to start a board game. The room was mostly silent. It was so awkward, and at that point I had no idea what to say to them. Eventually I had to signal to my boyfriend that I wanted to leave. It was only an hour and a half into the party, but I was so uncomfortable and upset. Paul's girlfriend was going to come to the party soon, and I feared I would just be more left out and uncomfortable when that happened, so I decided I had to leave. They said goodbye to me and waved as I left, but that was about it. After the party, I cried. I usually am not affected by other people's actions, but I found myself really confused on what I had done wrong. I discussed it with my boyfriend, and he was also upset and confused as to why they did that. Since then, he has had multiple conversations individually with both of them about it. From what I've heard, Tom apologized and said he wanted to be my friend. He had no reason for why he did it, but recognizes it was wrong. Paul has apologized and said he is shy when meeting new people. However, I am incredibly shy and still made an effort to have a conversation. He is also deflected and apparently is repeatedly asking what he can do to make it better now, instead of fully recognizing what he did. Overall, I'm very confused and upset. I feel like there has to be a reason for what they did that they don't want to share to my boyfriend. Tom says he wants to be my friend and see me again, but I'm not sure I want to. I am not sure how to move forward with this situation and would appreciate advice. Comment from user Mediocre Dreams Girl. Oh hun, no. I understand how you are feeling, but from your story I feel very certain that you did nothing wrong. I mean, no disrespect to any of these guys, but I don't even think this situation is about you even. You did everything right. Okay, it seems to me that your boyfriend is more emotionally mature than his friends. And to be honest, sounds like he's better at talking to girls than his buds are. So don't take this the wrong way, but everyone here is very young. If this story happened and everyone was 25, I would have very different feelings. But for some guys 18, 20 can be a very awkward age. Think about it this way. Why are you upset? I know this was a big deal for you and your BF, and I think it's because this party had some stakes. Your job is to make a good impression on your BF's friends because that's your boyfriend. Boyfriend's job is to make a good impression on his friends and bringing your lovely self to his party and showing he has a cool girlfriend. And Tom and Paul's job is to make a good impression on you to show that your boyfriend is cool and has cool friends. It sounds to me like the first two things happened. We just have a bit of a snag with Tom and Paul's behavior. So we can talk about that in a minute. You made a good impression. Tom has directly stated he wants to be your friend. Paul and Tom have apologized, and they haven't gotten defensive or said anything like they thought you were stuck up, rude, whiny, whatever. So they didn't want to talk to you. I think they are genuinely feeling this here. I think they probably didn't realize how they were affecting you. You brought up that they are into anime and video games. I don't want to judge anyone, and I do like video games, but I also know that with some boys, if that is all they talk about, it can point towards being socially awkward, especially around girls, even if Paul does have a girlfriend. I think his friends are probably awkward, and that is why everyone is acting this way. Some things to point to this. Paul has a very small social circle. He may not have female friends at all outside of his girlfriend. Tom's concern about being a third wheel is kind of silly unless he has experienced this feeling while hanging out with Paul and his girl. But if you haven't hung out with your friends' girlfriends before, this is a very natural way to feel. If you hung out as a group more, he would probably realize that it's fine if everyone tries to make everyone else feel welcome. This is a kind of young man's thing to think. So one thing that is missing and why I think they are probably generally awkward is that when you're talking about something kind of nerdy with someone who isn't super nerdy, you kind of got to bring up the parts of that anime or video game that are emotionally appealing or interesting to people who aren't well versed in the show. Holding space for that conversation and navigating it and making the other person interested is a social skill. I think what happened here was Tom and Paul literally didn't know what to talk to you about. This made them shy, and they sort of failed this introduction to you, and it's their own fault. This is why they are apologizing, I believe. Because they know they made a bad impression, and they wish they had made a better impression of themselves to you. That's why their reasons are not good. I think when Paul wants to make things better, Tom recognizes that he did wrong. They're being straightforward and honest with you. The reason that they acted this way, of course, is that they are young, awkward boys, and they have failed their social skills at this party. They are nerdy, maybe outsiders, who didn't talk to you, a girl, the right way at a party. It seems like you are digging for some deep reason, but this is the whole reason. And they on some level know this. But they can't come out and admit this to you because that would cost them too much honor to themselves and their friends to ever come out and say this to you. That's why they say they are shy. It's a gesture without having to come out and say this terrible thing to you. You shouldn't need them to prostrate themselves before you. I would accept their apologies and understand that they regret not trying their best. I think my practical advice to move forward in the relationship is to accept Tom and Paul's apologies. I don't think you did anything wrong. I think Paul and Tom did something wrong by not being more emotionally aware. But I think they learned something. And I think they didn't go out of their way to hurt you. They were just being bad at making friends. I think you would be happiest if you tried again, in a more low-stakes hangout, outside of something big like a birthday party with family around everywhere. A birthday party is fun, but it is a day about your boyfriend, and it's harder for him to be very in tune with your emotions and the emotional flow of the group around him. It's his fault either. It sounds like your boyfriend likes you a lot and wanted this to go better. I might have stayed until Paul's girlfriend showed up. I think her presence would actually have helped rather than made things harder, because you two can talk, and that's a bridge to take to Paul. More importantly, This would give you an out to not spend all of your time trying to get Tom and Paul to come out of their shells, which is exhausting everyone. If it was just you five on a normal day, things will go better. Your boyfriend will have less going on, and since everyone knows that this is important to you and how you feel, everyone can make more of a concerted effort to welcome you to the fold. I hope I have made this less confusing for you, but I do want to talk about how upset you are. I don't know if you are a people pleaser, but it does feel like you are taking the result of this interaction into yourself emotionally. The reason you are feeling upset is because of something real. You don't feel like you are part of the group, not in a logical way, but in a deep emotional way. And your being is bringing up this feeling to warn you that something is wrong. I want to give you some advice to think about for this. So when a social situation goes south, sometimes it's no one's fault. Sometimes it's your fault, and sometimes it's because of other people. But I don't think our emotional beings cannot tell the difference between these three things. So whenever I get upset about something, I try to realize that I have noticed something real, but it might not be the thing my emotion thinks it is. And it's easier to let an emotion go when it's unnerving if we are able to understand it. And if the emotion is what we need, we can appropriately decide what to do. So for your situation, it feels like you are taking this upset feeling. Oh no, this is going wrong. What am I going to do? I am upset. And you are kind of immediately going to, oh, then I must have done something wrong. And when you do this, this is really your body telling you that you need to consider what you could do better. And maybe your mind can tell you, it's because I should have curtsied. I can fix that now. But if you don't allow yourself to realize, hey, this might not be on me after you think about it, then you could take in this feeling of failure that was never yours to begin with. If you bring that inside of you, that risks becoming insecurity. And even if you had done something rude, not even on purpose, that would be a thing that happened. But you can fix it, and it doesn't need to be who you are. Update. Thank you so much for responding. I really appreciate having outsider insight on this situation. To give some more context, there are girls in this friend group that my boyfriend is involved with. In fact, there was a situation where one of the girls in the group had a crush on my boyfriend before knowing we were involved in a relationship. She later told my boyfriend that nobody in the group liked me, even though I had never met any of them at that point, and also stalked us on social media. Paul was one of the people involved with trying to get them together and is still friends with her now. Tom wasn't aware this was going on, but has since distanced himself from her. This situation is one of the reasons my boyfriend is distancing himself from that group. I would say Paul has experience talking to girls while Tom really doesn't. Also, Paul's girlfriend, from what I've heard, is kind of weird. And I'm not sure we would have enough in common to create a bond. I should probably say that I did not expect the party to end with all of us being friends. I just wanted to finally meet them and get to know them more. But to have them not say anything to me, despite hearing about me for months, felt weird to me. I brought up certain things about their friend group and their favorite games, but they would not really address what I said. I probably was overthinking the situation and should have realized they are socially awkward. Thank you for helping me. Thank you for your attention, for following our story. I am grateful for every moment we have experienced together, for the challenges that made us stronger, and for the joys that made our life complete. I look forward to your comments. It truly means a lot to me. Do you believe that you can love someone else's child as much as your own? If you enjoyed the story, subscribe to my channel and like the video. I appreciate your support. Until our next meetings and new stories, gratitude and much love.